30 days or less. Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about during today's training. I'm actually going to break this down for you week by week by week through the 4 weeks. So you're going to see exactly what you could be doing and should be doing right now to, in 4 weeks, have your business credit established and already be getting money for your business without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check. Even if you're a new business, existing business, this is the path to you getting optimal funding for your business. Look, lenders and credit issuers use business credit to determine if you should be approved or denied credit financing, how much you should get, and the rates and terms you're going to pay. So if you want to get more approvals, higher approval amounts, and you want to get better interest rates on the credit lines and loans that you're getting, you need to have established business credit. It is as important to your business getting money as personal credit is to you on the personal side of getting funding. But a lot of people get stuck. There's a lot of overnight fake gurus on social media giving bad advice. Not that they're trying to sabotage you. Some are. But a lot of them are just telling you what worked for them. But what worked for them won't work for you. So being somebody that's helped over 1 million business owners through trainings like this, figure this system out, I'm going to show you everything you need to know to expedite business credit building and actually get business credit established in 4 weeks or less. Here is the week-by-week plan to actually be able to succeed. And I'm going to throw this up really quick. I'll probably take it down throughout. But if you're interested in the step-by-step guide to actually successfully build business credit, I'm going to throw this up on the screen as well. All you have to do is scan that QR code or go to creditsuite.com/EIN. That guide is going to give you even more details of what to do, more vendors, more access, more training. So if you want even more advice, more education, and more training in regards to this, this is the guide to grab. Okay, how do we build business credit in 30 days? First of all, yes, it's beyond more than possible to do. As a matter of fact, a month into this process, you should already have secured your first business credit building accounts. You should already have been using them to buy stuff. You should have already paid the bill, and you're going to be right at the end of waiting for those accounts to actually report to the business credit reporting agencies. If you're doing this right, as I'm about to lay out for you, in 30 days, you're ready to move on to revolving credit. You're ready to move on to credit with almost a lot of the major retailers. You're able to actually expand your business credit profiles to a point where you're getting real money that you need to start and grow your business. So how do we get there? Well, we start with step 1. Step 1 is the most important step of you getting any money for your business. Loans, credit lines, business credit cards, doesn't matter. You have to complete step 1. And step 1 is you need to structure your business properly. You have to become lendable, fundable, bankable, whatever term you want to use. You have to be somebody that lenders and credit issuers want to give money to. The majority of denials that happen when you apply for credit financing is not because you don't qualify. It's because you have not structured your business properly. Let me repeat that. A lot of people think they get turned down because they don't qualify for what they're applying for. That's statistically not true. Most things you are applying for, you do qualify, but you're getting denied because your business isn't structured in a way where lenders and credit issuers are taking you seriously. It's why it's one of the most important aspects of building your business credit. We've got to structure the business properly where you look credible. Okay, and whether it be that you're going through Forbes or Inc. or Entrepreneur, any of them all have different language for this, but they also talk about fundability or funding currency. They talk about credibility. It's important for you ever getting money for your business. So how do you structure your business the right way? First of all, you should have the right entity type. You need to be either a corporation or an LLC, preferably an S or a C Corp or an LLC. Corporations are looked at with more credibility than LLCs, but either one will do. You have to avoid sole proprietorships. You have to. You're just not going to get the money that you want if you're a sole proprietor. It's the one thing you need to change right now if you are in that entity type. Okay, look, SBA refers to a sole proprietor as somebody experimenting with a business idea. Even SBA doesn't even look at a sole proprietor as a real business type. It's an individual that's experimenting with the idea of a business. If you're a sole prop, get the heck out. You need to be a C Corp or you need to be an LLC. Next, you got to have an EIN set up for your business. Yes, you can have an entity without the EIN, But if you're going to build business credit is built under your EIN. The same as consumer credit is built linked to your social, your business credit is built linked to your EIN. A lot of people think the business credit is built under the DUNS number. That's not true. It's not the case. Business credit's linked to an EIN, so if you don't have an EIN, you just simply cannot successfully build business credit. And by the way, if you're just coming in, give me a shout out here in the live stream. Give me your company name or your name, and I'm going to give you a shout out back. Hey, it could be a cool way to get free publicity and promotion for your company. You can't beat that, so give me your company name, and I'm going to give you a shout out. Okay, so that being said, week number one, we've got to be able to build that business structure. We've got to structure the business where we're credible. We need to have a business bank account set up with our business information on it. We need to get a business license for our business. Now, you might not be required to have a license in your industry, in your state, in your county, but get one. You can easily go to Google and type in your county name, business license, and see that basically almost every county has a license they will issue you to show you that you are an operating business. This is important, because as I get to week 2, you're going to see that there are credit lines you can get for $2,500 just because you have a license for your business. So get a business bank account, get a business license, have an LLC or corporation set up as well, and then set up a business that's separate from you. So let's look at what that means. It means your business should have a separate phone number than you do. It shouldn't be a home phone. It shouldn't be a mobile phone. It should be a separate phone number you set up through a place like Ring Central, for example. Your business should have a separate address than what you have. It should not be your home address. It should not be a P.O. box, an iPostal box that you pay $10 a month for, that I can go to Google and Google the address and see a picture of PostalNet or iPostalNet or UPS store. Like, it should be in a real location. Now, if you have a retail shop, that's easy. You already have a retail location. If you're in a commercial building, that's easy. You're already in a commercial building. If you're not there, then you want to choose what is called a virtual office. Beware. A virtual address and a virtual office are two separate things. A virtual address is a P.O. box. It's a UPS address. Okay, it's an iPostal type address. But a virtual office is a real physical building you can actually have an actual office in. How do you know the difference? Google it and look at images. If I go to iPostal right now and get a typical address, I can go to Google and type in that address and go to images and see a picture of a postal store, post.net or postal.net or UPS, whatever it may be. If I go to Alliance Virtual Offices and get a real virtual office and I Google that address, it looks like some big commercial building in the middle of Tampa, Florida. So you can clearly tell the difference between the addresses just by doing an image search. What you need to know is that lenders have technology that looks at it the same way that we do. They tell right away whether you're using a home address, a business address, or whether you're actually using a real commercial location. So you need to have a separate address for the business, a separate phone number for the business. You should have a website that reflects what you do. Somebody should look at your website and understand what you do. And your email should be congruent with your website. My website is creditsuite.com. My email is info@creditsuite.com. That is exactly what you're looking for. Now, if we've done this properly, it's not a lot of extra steps, right? I mean, this is pretty basic. And not only does it make you more credible for credit issuers, but it also makes you more credible for prospective customers, investors, clients as well. So how do we do this? Step 1, week 1. We are setting up the structure of the business, either a corporation or an LLC. We are getting an EIN. We are getting a business bank account. We are getting a business license. We are setting up an address for our business and a phone number for our business. We have our website set up and we have a professional email set up. If you need help with this, go to profitlifter.com. At profitlifter.com, it's a free trial. It's like $97 a month. They give you the CRM. You're able to, through them, get your phone number, get your website, get all of that stuff set up. It's one of the cheapest, easy solutions if you don't have those things done. If you don't have those things done already. And Mal, the builder, is in the house. Thanks for coming in. And Madam Tara, hello. Hi, Jersey Shore. Nurturing Embrace Doula Services LLC. I love it. Nurturing Embrace Doula Services LLC up in Jersey Shore. Madam Tara, thanks for coming in and saying hello. By the way, if you're just coming in, give me a shout out, give me your company name. I'll give you a shout out on the live stream. So week one, we structured the business. Entity type, we set up the EIN, we set up the address, the phone number, the website, we have the license, we have the bank account, and we also have everything separated from us. Now that we're separated, now we can start building a credit profile for the separate entity that's linked to the EIN. And that brings me to week two. Shortcut. Doesn't take a full week to do everything I just told you. The reality is you can dedicate 1 day to do it. So even though I said it's week one, a lot of our clients are getting their first approvals in week one, not week two. Okay, but I'm giving you some time here, saying maybe it takes you a week to get those things set up, and that brings us to week two of the process. In week two, we are going to take the first step to getting set up with the business credit reporting agencies. That first step is to get our DUNS number with Dun & Bradstreet. So the DUNS number is a 9-digit number that's issued to basically anybody in D&B's database. And that 9-digit number is like the EIN, but it's used worldwide to identify your business. We have to have a DUNS number because there's two requirements to ever build business credit with Dun & Bradstreet. Number one, we have to have a DUNS number. Number two, we need 3 accounts reporting to Dun & Bradstreet. Now, with Experian and Equifax, we don't need to take any step to get set up with them. When the first credit issuer reports our payments to them, they will automatically create reports for us. So there's no actions that need to be taken with Experian or Equifax to establish business credit. But we do need to take the step of getting a DUNS number with Dun & Bradstreet, or we'll never have a Dun & Bradstreet credit profile. I get this question all the time. People say, why don't I have a credit profile? Why won't D&B show my credit profile? Why is D&B doing this? D&B's not doing anything. What they're doing is you don't have enough criteria, you haven't met the criteria for them to create a credit profile yet. So if this happens to you, it's because you either don't have your DUNS or you don't have 3 accounts reporting to Dun & Bradstreet. Into week 2 of this 4-week process, we are going to get our DUNS number with Dun & Bradstreet. Now, I'll give you a shortcut. For me, when I set up a new entity, getting my DUNS number is part of that setup. It should already be part of your setup of setting up any entity. In the future, you should have a checklist of what you go through to set up a business. Get the address, get the phone number, get the website, get the EIN, everything I told you, and DUNS really should be on that list. But for this conversation of building business credit in 30 days, we are getting our DUNS number, which is the first step of getting set up with Dun & Bradstreet. And by the way, Louis Legacy Ventures is in the house. Thank you for coming in, Louis Legacy Ventures. Thanks for coming in and saying hello. Okay, so week 1. We structured the business. Week 2, we started off strong by getting the DUNS number. Now, the next thing we want to do is start getting what are called starter vendors. And this is where there's a fork in the road. And you really have 3 options from here to be able to build business credit initially. The hardest part of building business credit happens right here. It's getting the first accounts reporting to the business credit reporting agencies. Why is it so hard? 2 reasons. This old adage that you have to have money to get money, right? Meaning that credit issuers don't want to give you credit when you don't have any credit already. So we're in that endless loop a lot of people get caught in. The second thing is that 90%, over 9 out of 10 vendors, people that will give you credit, do not report the credit to a business credit reporting agency, okay? So as a result of that, you need to be intentional about building initial business credit. When you build initial business credit and you have a profile come alive with Experian, come alive with Equifax, come alive with Dun & Bradstreet, then more and more credit issuers and lenders and people that issue credit lines, they'll give you access to money. But they're not going to do it when your business hasn't proven itself. This is why this is such a difficult part, because we have to get credit when it's really hard to get. And I'm going to give you 3 different paths to do it. Path number 1 is a program called Credit Line Hybrid. Credit Line Hybrid is perfect if you have good personal credit or you have a guarantor that does have good personal credit. Credit Line Hybrid is a program where you're able to get upwards of $150,000 in funding for your business through high limit credit cards and lines that report to the business credit reporting agencies. So all of a sudden, I'm able to get 2, 3 accounts that have $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 limits, real credit I can use right now. I can even liquidate the cards, take the cash out, and buy real estate with it if I want. This is the #1 program for real estate investors. So Credit Line Hybrid is a fantastic way to jumpstart your business credit profile if you have good credit or a guarantor around you has good personal credit. If you don't, it's okay. I've got 2 more paths for you to build initial business credit. But if you have good credit or have a guarantor that does, scan this QR code or go to creditsuite.com/CLH. We'll ask you very few details, and then we can get you to an actual real funding source that actually issues those kind of credit lines and cards. Now, option 2 is you can get started with what are called starter vendors. Now, starter vendors are vendors who will give you credit even though you have no business credit reports now, and they will give it to you even as a brand new business. They will issue credit to almost anybody, even as a brand new business. Now, my favorite examples here include Uline. When I build business credit for a new company, 100% of the time, I am using Uline as one of my starter vendors, because Uline will give you credit when you have none. They don't make you jump through a bunch of hoops. They don't make you prepay for a bunch of orders. They're just going to give you credit as a new business if you followed my advice in week 1 and set up and structured your business the right way. If you did that, then you have a business that's credible, and then Uline will be able to give you that initial credit line. Number 2 source, again, it is my go-to. If I am building a new business and I'm building business credit, 100% of the credit profiles I build for my business, I'm getting a Granger account, all of them. Because Granger will give you a $2,500 credit line just because you have a business license. Why is that important? Because if I have a $2,500 credit line on my business credit report, then what will happen is my future limits in month 2 will start to be $3K, $5K. Like my first credit at stores is going to be $3,000, $5,000 or higher. So I want to get a high of a credit line as I can get right from the beginning, and Granger will give that to me if I actually have a real business address. Now, option number 3, Crown Office Supplies. And I like Crown Office Supplies because they sell like crap that we all need. Like we all need office supplies. I don't care if you're an over-the-road trucker, you still need to get stuff that's related to office supplies. Granger, a little bit harder to find stuff that you want and need. I work in an office. I don't need outdoor supplies. So what I buy at Granger is first aid kits, and I buy batteries. I buy a lot of those. Whenever I set up Granger for a new business, I'm usually buying batteries or first aid kits because I can never get too few or get too many of those things. But Crown Office Supplies, well, they sell stuff that we all need. So I love that as a starter vendor for that reason. And the next one is Phillips 76. Now, Phillips 76 is a fuel card. So if you are doing anything to do with your vehicle in your business, well, this is a really good starter vendor to start with. Now, fair warning, Phillips 76 may require a personal guarantee, may require a deposit if you didn't set up the business credibly and you skipped anything in step 1, or if you don't have maybe 1 or 2 other accounts on your credit report, they may do that. So they might not be the perfect starter vendor for you, but they're a great one for you if you're in the transportation industry. So now at this point, we've actually come in and we actually got approved for our initial starter vendors. You're going to want 3 to 5 of them in this stage, stage 2 of our process. You cannot just get approved. You need to use the credit that you actually secured. It's essential for you to ever actually be able to come in and build a business credit profile with those accounts. And by the way, Madam Taras says, hey, in my county state, it says if I only need a license if I have a fire alarm, burglar, or locksmith system. Yes. So I'm going to bring this comment up because in step 1, week 1, I said get a business license. And what I said is that even if you don't need one, if you don't need a business license, it doesn't matter. I don't need a business license in my county either, but I still have one. So you don't have to have a business license, but having a business license gives you a lot of credibility. This is why you should still get it even if you don't have to have it. So keep that in mind. I get a business license for every business I set up, and I am not required in my industry, county, or state to have one. I still get it because it goes a long way to making you credible. And by the way, Madam Tara, good point. Since most people don't need it, most people don't get it. And that gives us an unfair advantage when we're out there applying for capital because we have one more strong sign of credibility, a business license, that others just simply do not have. And that business license opens up the door for us to being able to start getting credit lines for $2,500 from places like Granger. That's why you want it, even if you don't have to have it. Now, here we are. Week 1, we structured that business and we set it up properly. Now, week 2, we are actually establishing initial business credit. And I gave you the vendors to do it with. Keep in mind that if you want access to more vendors other than what we talked about, you can grab this guide right here, scan the QR code, or go to creditsuite.com/EIN, and that will get you access to even more vendors. Now, you have to use the credit that you're given. There's 3 stages to this. Stage 1, we apply and we get approved. Stage 2, we have to use the credit to buy stuff. So we need to get credit with vendors that actually have stuff we want to buy, because we're going to use that credit to actually go and buy some stuff for the business. Okay, and step 3, we have to pay the bill. Now, we want to pay the bill as soon as we possibly can after the item has shipped. If I pay for that before the item ships, it will count as a cash transaction and never report to a business credit reporting agency. So if I go to get credit through Uline, for example, or I go to get credit through, well, let's just say Uline, and then they ship my item, if they let me pay right then, I want to pay. I go put stuff in the cart. Uline says, we shipped your stuff. I say, okay, great. I go in and I pay that bill. Now, if I have an account with Staples, and Staples, I get approved, and Staples ships my stuff and I go to pay, Staples will not let me pay until my statement due date is there. So until they populate a statement for me, I can't even pay with Staples. But vendors like Uline will let me pay right away. So as soon as you can pay, you need to pay, and here's why. Nearly 100% of your business credit scores is based on how you pay your bills. So what it means is you and I have 100% control of what our business credit score is. The earlier we pay the bill, the higher the score. The higher the score, the lower our interest rate, right? So we want to get good rates on credit cards, credit lines, and loans. The key to getting good interest rates is to actually be able to come in here and be able to have good credit scores. The key to good credit scores is paying bills on time or early. Remember, in the business credit world, 1 day late is 1 day late. In the consumer credit world, I'm not even reported late unless I'm 30 days late. But in the business world, if I'm 1 day late, it counts as me being late and hurts my business credit scores. Never pay late. You're given this beautiful gift of having 100% control over your business credit scores. Do not ruin it by paying it late, by messing up the one thing the credit score is based on. Pay the bill on time or as early as you possibly can, and that completes the 3 steps to using these accounts. 1, we got approved. 2, we use the account. 3, we paid the bill on time or early, and that wraps up week 2 of our 30-day process. Now, at this point, our business is set up credible. We already got credit for our business with net 15 to net 60-day terms, which gives us 15 to 60 days to pay that debt off. Then we used it. We bought stuff we really needed to grow our business, and we paid those bills off. So if you think about it, we are less than 14 days into this process, and we've already secured credit through 3 to 5 credit issuers. We've already been using it to buy stuff to fund our business. We already are getting business credit basically less than 2 weeks, realistically 1 week into this process. So some things to keep in mind. Now, Daniel says, hey, and by the way, Daniel Ullman, Lion. I love it. I'm a Leo. I'm a Lion. Thanks for coming in from LinkedIn. There's only one way to generate a great business credit score: obtain credit accounts that report positive payment history to the business credit bureaus and use the credit lines. I love it. Now, that brings me to the third way that we can build initial business credit. And this is through a program called Credit Insights Plus, and it's offered by Dun & Bradstreet. So Credit Insights Plus is a program from Dun & Bradstreet where they will allow you to add banking history, financial data, and accounts you already have, timely term payments to your business credit reports with Dun & Bradstreet. Now, this is a phenomenal program to jumpstart your business credit building, and it's like $150 a month with D&B to get access to your credit reports and get this add-on product with them. And what they'll do is they'll take accounts you already have and add it to your business credit report. So let me give you an example. Let's say I have a software that I use, HubSpot. HubSpot is my software. And I pay HubSpot every month. And by the way, I pay HubSpot a lot of money every month, right? Well, what HubSpot, though, doesn't report my payments to a business credit reporting agency. So I'm paying HubSpot all this money, and no other lender or credit issuer sees I'm doing it. Well, I can go to D&B through their Credit Insights Plus. I can add that HubSpot payment to my D&B report, and now all of a sudden I have a trade line with Dun & Bradstreet showing that I spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month to HubSpot, as an example. What do you have that you're paying regularly that you can add to a business credit report? Things to think about, and D&B will help let you add a lot of those accounts there. They won't let you do rent or utilities or credit cards or banking history, but a lot of the other stuff they will. Now you have to, one warning of caution here, you can never just build business credit with D&B and not the others. So you're still going to want to probably get some starter vendors that report to Experian and or Equifax as well. But again, the key here is to get accounts that report to Equifax, Experian, and D&B. You can do it through Credit Line Hybrid. You can do it through starter vendors. You can do it through Credit Insights Plus with Dun & Bradstreet. Just make sure you don't only do Credit Insights Plus and only build credit with D&B, because a lot of banks use Equifax and a lot of credit issuers use Experian. And by the way, if you're just coming in, give me a shout out, give me your company name, and I'll shout you out right here on the live stream. It'll get you a ton of exposure. And Tal Siegel says you're doing a great job. Thank you, Tal. I really appreciate that. Okay, so let's recap. Week 1, we set up the structure of the business. We got our entity set up, corporation or LLC. We got our EIN. We got a business address, a business phone number. We got a business bank account, a business license, a website, an EIN, or an email address. If we need help with that, we can go to Profit Lifter, and they help with the phone number and the email and the website and a lot of that stuff already. Now we're to week 2, and we're deploying one of 3 strategies to build initial business credit. 1, we are getting credit lines, real credit cards and lines that we could take the cash out of, up to 150 grand, even as a startup, to fund our business. A lot of these report to the business credit reporting agencies. Phenomenal program if we have good personal credit or a guarantor that does. Option 2, we are starting our business credit profile with starter vendors. These are places like Uline, Granger, Phillips 76, Crown Office Supplies, who will give us credit when we have none, and they report that credit to the business credit reporting agency. Then the other option is that we're using Credit Insights Plus from Dun & Bradstreet. This allows us to take accounts we already have and add them to our Dun & Bradstreet credit profile and score. I don't care which of the 3 options you choose. You choose the option that's better for you. If you have good credit, go get Credit Line Hybrid. It's a way to get a bunch of access to cash credit that you can actually use while building business credit. If you don't have good credit, think about starter vendors. And if you don't want to pay the money for $150 to Dun & Bradstreet, well, then use starter vendors as well. If you don't mind and you want to jumpstart, then use Credit Insights Plus. It gives you a little bit of an unfair advantage and a jumpstart because you're able to add a bunch of accounts you already have to that Dun & Bradstreet credit profile and score. Now we are to week 3. And in week 3, what we want to be doing is we want to be getting credit monitoring first. And here's why. Building business credit is about navigating through what we call tiers, not those tiers, TIERS, tiers. So tiers are like credit issuers will give you credit when you have X amount of accounts on your business credit report. So for example, Home Depot might not approve you until you have 5 accounts on your business credit reports, but Lowe's won't approve you until you have 7, right? That's what a tier is. We're only applying for credit we know we can get, that based on how many accounts we have in our business credit reports. So navigating and building business credit is 100% reliant on us seeing our business credit reports. Now, if you're working with Credit Suite to help you through this process, we're the only source that gives you actual real lender credit reports. The same credit reports lenders use, we have access to. There's 2 people that have them, lenders, Credit Suite. So if you're working with us, we're giving you real lender credit reports so you can see what lenders see and use those to build your business credit. If you're not working with us, we're not even allowed with the relationship we have to give those reports to anybody that's not using our technology. We're not even allowed. It's like within our licensing agreement. So then you go to creditsuite.com/monitoring. And at creditsuite.com/monitoring, now you can actually get set up and get your actual business credit reports to monitor what's happening each stage of the way. It takes about 2 to 4 weeks for accounts to report on your business credit reports, about 2 to 4 weeks. So if you have already had the credit for about 2 weeks and you're waiting for it to show in your reports, that is the time to go in and make sure that you're getting access to credit monitoring so you can see when those accounts actually report on your business credit reports. Okay, so now Permanent Mark Podcast says, what's the best way to start? We are walking through that right now. Okay, I will do a recap as we get to the end, and you can also go back in this entirety. We talked about step 1, week 1, then we just wrapped up week 2. Now we're on to week 3 right now. Now, Permanent Mark Podcast says, hey, can your business address be a P.O. box? Does it have to be a physical location? It does. We addressed that in the very beginning, week 1. And again, you can go back and watch this in its entirety where it breaks down more. You have to avoid P.O. boxes, UPS addresses. The easy way to check an address to make sure it's one that you should not have is Google the address and then look at images in Google. And if you look at images, are you looking at a UPS store? Are you looking at a postnet type store? Or are you looking at a real commercial building? An alternative is to go through an alliance virtual offices to get a virtual office. You want to avoid virtual addresses, which are P.O. boxes. So hopefully that helps answer the question. 77T Adams is back in the house. One of my favorite subscribers, tribe members is in the house. Thanks for coming in. And Mufasa says, is there a license for real estate investor? There is no license. When we talk about this, I'm talking about my recommendation is to get a license in your county. Simply type in your county and then say business license. I'm in Hillsborough County in Tampa, Hillsborough County, Florida, business license. You do not have to have a license, but a license goes a long way to giving you credibility. So even though you don't have to have it, it's something you should have. So go to get a license in your state, even if it's not required in your entity, okay? Permanent Mark Podcast, got it, great. So now we're to week 3. Week 3, we are monitoring our business credit. We are looking to see these accounts report on our business credit reports. Our Experian credit profile comes alive, and now it shows credit history. Our Equifax comes alive, and now it shows credit history. Dun & Bradstreet will come alive if you got the DUNS number and if you actually have 3 accounts reporting to them. Now, at this stage, what we are doing is we're actually going to come in and start getting access to more credit. And in this stage, what we are doing is we are getting credit with credit issuers that are basically retailers. They are stores. They are vendors. What a vendor truly is a vendor will give you credit to buy stuff, to buy their stuff, right? So a vendor is Office Depot, Staples, Sam's Club, Costco, Amazon, Dell, HP, Apple. Anybody that is a retailer is a vendor. Nordstrom, Macy's offers business credit. Now, if I get a Nordstrom business credit card, I cannot use my Nordstrom business credit card at Macy's. I can only use it at Nordstrom. That's what makes it a vendor credit card. So let's look at Sam's Club, for example. Sam's Club has 2 types of credit cards. I can get the Sam's Club MasterCard. That's a universal credit card. It's a MasterCard. I could use it, the Sam's Club MasterCard at Costco if I want to. Sam's going to be mad, but I can do it. But if I get a Sam's Club vendor credit card, I can only use it at Sam's Club. That's the difference. The Sam's Club vendor card can only be used at Sam's Club. The Sam's Club MasterCard can be used anywhere MasterCard is accepted. So in this stage, we are getting credit with vendors. And vendors are one of the most valuable assets you will ever have in your business. And here is why. 80 to 90% of what a typical business will spend money on, vendors will be the ones that will actually give you money. They are the ones that you can buy it from. So if I look at my desk right now, I have ring lights. I have a Sony camera up here. I have an Anchorwork camera and a Logitech camera. Yeah, it's like NASA in this place, multiple cameras. I have my light right here, 2 monitors, a standing desk, And besides some little meaningful things from my kids and family here, that is my basic desk and my Dell computer, right? My chair. Everything, 100% of my setup was bought from vendors. 100% of it bought from vendors. So that's the value of vendors. Vendors could get my printer, my bookshelf, my books, my paper. Vendors paid for all of it, right? My TV on the back wall, even the wood that I put on the wall. It all came from vendors. So most of what you need to buy in your business, you can use vendors for. This means we are 3 weeks into this process. We just started our business, for example. We're 3 weeks into this process, and we're already starting to get credit lines of $2,000 to $10,000 at vendors that we buy stuff at anyways. Amazon, Dell, HP, Apple, Sunoco. I mean, you get it, Costco. You get the idea. So at this stage, we are starting to get approved with credit with major vendors. And these vendors will help us buy all the stuff we want to buy. Now, in the beginning, we may get approved for net terms, net 15, net 30, net 45, net 60, giving us 15, 30, 45, 60 days to pay off the balance in its entirety. But as we get through this round and add more accounts to our business credit reports, when we get about 5 or 10 accounts on those business credit reports, now we start to get revolving credit with those vendors. A lot of those vendors will give us a revolving credit card where we can pay a minimum balance over time until we pay off the balance in its entirety. So at this point, into week 3, we're getting a credit at almost every major vendor. And those vendors will basically pay for upwards of 90% of whatever I need to buy in my business. I can't pay payroll with a vendor credit card. Can't do it. But almost anything physically I need to buy, I can use vendors to be able to buy it. Now, we can't just get the credit. Remember the 3 steps. We have to apply and get approved. We have to use the credit. We have to pay the bill. For the account to ever show on your credit report, you have to have used the account for it to ever show, or it never will show. So we've got to use the account and pay the bill on time or early in this week, so we make sure we're further expanding our business credit profile and score. Now, 77T Adams says, why do SBA unsecured loans look, or what do SBA unsecured loans look for with what you want to do with that loan for underwriting? Okay, so this is off topic, but no worry. 77T Adams, always appreciate you being here. So they are, what do SBA unsecured loans look for with what you want to do with that loan for underwriting? So ultimately, it doesn't make a difference if it's for business purposes. The normal SBA loan is called a 7A, and that is for working capital. Working capital basically means you can use it for almost any business purpose. So as long as you are saying you're using it for business purposes, SBA is not going to care about the reason, as long as it's for business purposes, not personal purposes. And Pronto says, peace from Atlanta. I'm curious, how should you keep the tier 1 net 30s after they are reporting in order to move to tier 2 vendors, or should we also keep them? Okay, so let's talk about what keeping and this is a fantastic question, Pronto. I'm going to throw it up on the screen. So what Pronto is saying is, hey, I used starter vendors, then I moved to tier 2. What should I do with tier 1? How should I keep them? Well, you should, if you want them to calculate into your business credit scores, you need to use them at least once every 12 months. 12 months. Okay, I recommend to clients that you use them every 6 months. So let's say that you followed this training and you went in and you got Uline and Granger. Now I'm gone. I'm getting revolving credit with Staples now. I still go back to Uline at least once a year and use it to buy something. And here's why. It calculates into my score if I do, and it doesn't calculate into my score if I don't. So I want the business credit reporting agencies, I want lenders, I want credit issuers to see all these people are giving me credit and I'm using it all. That's who credit issuers want to issue money to. They don't want to issue money to somebody that uses an account once and doesn't use it again. Your business credit reports will actually show the recent amount of credit you've used. So if you're not using the credit, that'll be a blank. And then credit issuers are like, this person's being issued a lot of credit they're not using. So I personally use my own credit every 6 months. I buy at least something from there because they sell most of the stuff I'm buying anyways. I just go from Amazon and buy it at Uline instead. And then that way it shows more and more and more of a history of accounts that I'm paying. And the bigger the history of accounts I'm paying is, the higher the recommendation of credit from the bureaus will be. Keep in mind, your credit bureaus are telling lenders, they're telling credit issuers how much money you should be issued in credit and lent. They have something called credit limit recommendation. So what you and I want is we want that recommendation to get higher and higher and higher and higher, so lenders and credit issuers give us higher and higher and higher approvals. Well, we have found a direct link to the number of accounts you have on your business credit report and the credit limit recommendation, meaning the more accounts we have on our business credit report, the higher the recommendation of credit is. So I want to use all the accounts at least every 6 to 12 months that are on my credit report to show that I'm using all of this credit. That raises my recommendation. Then that gets me higher and higher and higher approvals. So fantastic question, Pronto. That's a little bit more insight than you asked for, but hopefully you got some good tips in that as well, okay? And TT Adams says, perfect, thank you. And Pronto says, nice, thank you. You are welcome. Thank you for the phenomenal engagement and the questions. By the way, you have questions, type them in. You'll see that I'll answer them right now. That brings us to week 4. And in week 4, we are now strengthening our business credit reports and scores. So now what we are doing is we are going back to those credit issuers that we actually already applied for and we're using them, and we're just asking them for a credit limit increase. See what happens. Worst they're going to say is no, doesn't hurt us. But if I go to Uline and say, hey man, you gave me $2,000 credit line, you give me 4, I'm using the credit line you gave me, they're going to give us higher limits. And the higher limits we have, the higher our future limits will be. So we're just going to take a shot here a month in and see if we can get some of these limits increased that we already have. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to be building out our relationships with lenders. So now we've got business credit reports established. So now we might want to set up more bank accounts. We might want to walk in and start establishing a relationship with multiple banks, regional banks, credit unions, and major banks. Because if we have business credit established and we have banking relationships with them, a couple months down the road, they're going to start issuing us some credit and funding. And at this point, we also want to make sure that we're getting more and more credit. So now we're getting even more credit. We're getting more vendor credit. We're using it. We're expanding our business credit profile and score. And then when that credit reports about a month into this process, now we can start to get fuel cards. And a couple months after that, we can get auto financing and we can get universal credit, which is Visa, MasterCards as well. At this point, we can probably start applying for some loans and credit lines as well. Now, let me debunk a myth right here. If you build business credit and business credit alone, nothing else, your personal credit scores, your revenue, your collateral, none of it matters. All that matters is if my business credit profile and score is built, I can use that and that alone to get almost any kind of credit card I want for the business. I can get credit cards with vendors. I can get credit card with retailers. I can get credit cards to be able to get Visa, MasterCard, Amex cards. I'm able to get auto financing without a guarantee and credit check. I'm able to get credit at almost every major fuel station. 100% of that I can get based solely on my business credit profile and score being established. That's it. That and that alone, nothing else. No revenue, no collateral, no personal credit, nothing else matters. My business credit being established will help me get vendor credit, store credit, Visa, MasterCard credit, auto financing, fuel credit by itself. This is what I call business credit helping your business fund itself. Because by following these steps, you set up an asset for your business credit reports. Now we're using this asset as leverage and collateral to get more and more and more credit. Okay, this is what I mean by your business can fund itself now, because your business credit now helps you get all this other kind of credit. Now, if you want to get loans, if you want to get credit lines, business credit is an important factor to help you, but it's not the only factor. So now that I have business credit established, it's easier for me to go get loans. It's easier to get credit lines. It's able to get equipment financing, revenue financing, term loans, all the other money I want. But that other money is going to look at other stuff, like your revenue, for example. So business credit alone will not get you credit lines and loans. It's a big contributing factor to help you, but it by itself is not enough to get you loans or credit lines. Other things will come into play, like revenue. But business credit alone will help you get almost any kind of credit card you want to get for the business and auto financing. So keep this in mind. By building business credit, it alone will get you almost any kind of credit financing, but it's going to help you get loans or credit lines, but other factors will tie into that. So sometimes there's confusion there. You want to know what you can use business credit for. And that is week 4. Week 4, we're getting financing. We're getting loans. We're getting credit lines. We're applying for lenders that will actually use business credit as a factor to get other kind of credit and financing we actually want to get to grow our business. And that's it. That's our 4-week plan. Let's recap. Week 1, we structured the business. We got our business set up, our entity, LLC or corporation, an EIN, an address, a separate phone number, a bank account, a license for our business, even if we don't need one. We get a website for our business, an EIN for our business, profitlifter.com. They can help us do a lot of that stuff. Okay. Then we go to step 2. Step 2 is now we're actually coming in and now we're actually starting the process of establishing trade lines. We're going to go get Granger. We're going to go get Uline. We're going to go get Crown Office Supplies. We're going to go get Phillips 76. And this business credit building guide gives you access to even more starter vendors. Scan the QR code or go to creditsuite.com/EIN to get it. Now we have these accounts. We went and used it. We did 3 steps. We got approved. We used the account. We paid the bill on time or early. Now that brings us to week 3 of the process. Week 3 of the process. Now we go get our DUNS number with Dun & Bradstreet. Now we get set up with credit monitoring at creditsuite.com/monitoring because we need to see these accounts we got actually reporting on their business credit reports. And now in this week, and now again, we are in week 2. We now have got Granger, we've got Uline, those reported. That brought us to week 3. And then in week 3, we actually now are able to get credit with starting with most major retailers. Amazon, Dell, HP, Apple, Sam's Club, Costco, Staples, Office Depot, Nordstrom, Macy's, John Deere for that matter, Best Buy for that matter. I mean, most major retailers are now starting to give us credit. And we follow the same 3 steps. We get approved, we use it, we pay the bill as soon as they let us pay it, on time or early. And that's what we're doing in week 3. And then in week 4, we just expand from there. In week 4, now we're positioned to start applying for credit and financing at lenders. Now that business credit is going to start helping us get loans. It's going to start helping us get credit lines. We're still continuing to build our business credit. We're getting credit at major retailers, more of them. We're getting fuel cards to fuel and repair and maintain our vehicles. Then as we continue through this process and get a couple more months down the road, then as we added more accounts to our business credit reports, now we can get auto financing, Visa, MasterCard credit, and that's really the end of the process we can get to a couple months down the road. So there you have it. That is your 30-day plan to establish and build business credit. If you want more insight from what we covered here, make sure you check it out at creditsuite.com/EIN or scan this QR code. 777T Adam says he is correct. It works, definitely works. Guys, if you have any doubts if this works, go to creditsuite.com. Click on About. As you hover About, it'll say like real results. You click on real results, there are hundreds of actual real approvals that you can able to find right there from our tribe. I mean, hundreds of them where you're able to see all the real approvals so you can see how well it actually does work. And Eric says, online listening from Pasadena, California. Great info training. Eric, thanks for coming in and saying hello. And Giovanni says, hey, I have bad personal credit. I have a logistics LLC, but I'm a truck driver. What would you recommend me to start with business credit? My LLC is already fundable on paper. So as I've walked through in this step, in this training, step 1, you set up the business where it's fundable. You said you've done that. Next, you move to step 2, which is 3 ways to build initial business credit. We're going to get vendors through Granger, Uline, these kind of sources. For you, Phillips 76 is a great one. We can also use Dun & Bradstreet's Credit Insights Plus to add accounts we already have to our business credit report. Or if we have good credit, we can get Credit Line Hybrid. Any of those 3 options, the goal is for us to get at least 3 to 5 accounts that report on our business credit reports. From there, you can follow the steps and continue to get more and more credit, especially from you. Wawa, Sunoco, Kanoko, all those will start to give you credit about 30, 60 days or less into this process. If you want more insight, go back and watch this training in its entirety. You're watching here on YouTube. You can watch it in its entirety on YouTube and scan this QR code and go to creditsuite.com/EIN. That'll also get you more details on my step-by-step business credit building guide, Giovanni. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. If you came in late, it's okay. I did a recap at the end, and if you want more specifics on what we talked about, go back and watch this on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, whatever channel you're watching on. And if you want even more insight from what we talked about, grab this guide. You can scan the QR code and go to creditsuite.com/EIN. This guy's been downloaded over 1 million times and gives you the step-by-step build process to build business credit. So there you have it. There's your 30-day plan to build business credit. If you need help along the way, let us know, creditsuite.com. If you go to creditsuite.com/consult, you'll even see that we'll give you access to a free assessment where we actually come in and help you through business credit building, give you tips and tactics. We'll even at zero cost to you, get you a free copy of your Dun & Bradstreet business credit report. So if you want access to your DB report and score for free, and you want help building business credit, just scan this QR code or go to creditsuite.com/consult. Thanks for tuning in. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready right now to walk in with Dun & Bradstreet and actually do a training webinar, because tomorrow I'll be doing a webinar for Dun & Bradstreet's clients, teaching them the ins and outs of fundability. So make sure you keep an eye on Dun & Bradstreet's social media channels. You'll find my training there as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. Take care. Have a great